Hallelujah. Yeah.
This is Bobby Okereke, inside linebacker for the Indianapolis Colts, and you are tuning into the Blue Stable Podcast.
Welcome back to the Blue Stable Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, as always, I'm your host, producer, content coordinator for the Blue Stable, joined by me, NFL insiders, Rashaad McGinnis, Destin Adams. Rashaad, what's up with you, man? What's going on?
Hey, man, Mike called me first. I feel special, man. Thank you for the introduction. You know, it was great. It's nice being appreciated around here. It's about damn time.
Hey, minorities stick together always. Destin, what's up, man?
I feel offended. Mike must have not liked my pictures earlier. He didn't add photographer in there, but
I can't steal heat from Luke, our guy Luke, man. Shout out Luke Verkamp, by the way.
I just need to say I can't wait for him to be back next week. Taking pictures today was the most stressful thing ever, but just made me appreciate everything he does. But super pumped to be back. Super pumped to talk about actual football. We're not talking practice. We ain't talking about practice.
Not practice. Not the game that they love and that we watch. Practice. Anyways, guys, football has been played finally. It doesn't matter too much yet, but we're getting there, slowly getting there, guys. Real quick, how did you guys, watch the game on Saturday? Did you kick back, throw a tailgate? I know we had tailgate Twitter Spaces going on. Destin, you were a host on that. Shout out to our lead writer, Zach. All right, Zach Shankerman. He was the host of that one. How did y'all spend that time watching the game?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I went and grabbed Wingstop. That's my favorite wing spot that's near me here. So I went and got some garlic Parmesan wings, got some lemon pepper, got some Cajun wings. I went 3 flavors deep for Saturday's game. I had to get some flavor going. But so yeah, I went ahead and got some wings for the day. Felt like it was needed for the first Colts live action of the year. And yeah, I was on that Twitter Spaces for the new Twitter Spaces show for the Blue Stable Twitter tailgate. So I got to talk with a lot of you guys, getting to talk about the game. We had a lot of interesting questions brought up. Make sure you guys tune back into that 2 hours before every single game this year. We have 19 more games to go and more, obviously, as we want to play in January. We want to play in February. So.
All right, guys. Well, before we jump into this, y'all already know what it is. If you want to help the Blue Stable grow, make sure you comment, like, subscribe. We are still heading towards that goal of 1,000 subscribers. We're almost there, guys. We need y'all's help. Subscribe if you're new. Subscribe if you've come back. Tell other people that they need to subscribe as well for a chance to win a jersey giveaway, ladies and gentlemen. So let's finally get into it, guys. Freaking Destin over here making me open up DoorDash and look at Wingstop here. I don't know about those other flavors. I'll just do my original hot because that's my favorite affordable wing place other than the hometown pizza wings and things. So other than that, guys, let's get into some football. The Colts fell. If you're not watching, look at this graphic right here or right here. I don't know, man. I'm special, okay? But on whichever side, those stats for the game, the Colts did take the L 24-27. And again, it doesn't matter. So we're still winning the Super Bowl. But we are going to talk about what we saw. We're going to break down each room, give the lowlights, the highlights, who we thought was good, all that good stuff. So let's start with the quarterback room, guys. So obviously, I believe it was a 3-drive preseason game for Matt Ryan. Nothing too crazy. Preseason, working on the basics. There was a lot of underneath attempts, a lot of smash concepts Frank Wright was trying to throw in there. Just keep it a little bit basic. Got sacked. Didn't like that, but ultimately 6 for 10, 58 yards. Nothing too heavy. As long as he walked out healthy, that's all I care about. But Rashaad, let me start with you, man. How do you think Matt Ryan looked, debuting for the Colts?
I think he looked exactly how Matt Ryan has looked. He was looking a lot underneath. I think they was running a lot of time and stuff, rhythm stuff, trying to get him in rhythm. He was definitely going underneath. He was moving defenders with his eyes and then going to the check down or going underneath where the routes was designed to go for the most part. I didn't see anything wrong with him, anything concerning. He looked like he had a couple of times where he placed the ball in not ideal spots. It wasn't bad spots or anything, but it's a couple throws that he could have made a little bit better, but it was nothing concerning at all. Matt Ryan looked absolutely fine to me.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it just felt like the game plan going in, you can tell they wanted to work on run blocking and things like that and the short end stuff. So you just didn't see Matt Ryan take many moderate or deep shots. I thought he was sharp. I thought he hit guys in stride, and he gave guys chances to make plays. I mean, like Rashaad said, I feel like Matt Ryan was who we thought he was going into the game.
Yeah, Nick Foles obviously got some work in. Like Rashaad said, he looked like Nick Foles. He was a solid backup. We think he's going to do good things if he has to step in for a game or so. And then finally on this quarterback room, guys, Destin, I know Saturday was a hard day for you and I. I don't know where Rashaad stands on this, but Sam Ellinger really putting the pressure on Chris Ballard and company to keep three quarterbacks in the room on the roster. But you're shaking your head right now. Sam Ellinger, he's putting actions instead of words. So what did you think of Sam Ellinger's performance? And, does his boost his chances of making the roster?
I mean, I'm going to say I would rather Ellinger win the QB2 job than them keep three quarterbacks. But, I mean, for Sam, I think he looked good. I think you can tell he has a really good grasp of Reich's offense. He moved well out of the pocket. I think he did make some good throws. When it comes down to it, I just don't know if Saturday makes me feel any better that if he had to play in a spot start that he would be better than Nick Foles, which is why I would keep Nick Foles. But I have seen Twitter, the Ellinger clan is just in full force on Twitter. So we'll see what happens.
Sam Ellinger, man, he played well. He played well. He definitely looked more mature than he looked last year. He looked a little more patient. I like the way he kept his feet moving in the pocket, escaped pressure, kept his eyes downfield, as you should do as a quarterback. And he didn't do anything I didn't expect him to do. The limitations that he had on him, I think he still has as far as his arm talent and just what he can do if he's required to work absolutely strictly from the pocket. He's limited in that area. But the things he does well, man, he's a smart football player. He kept a lot of plays alive with his feet. And like I said, he made the short, consistent, accurate throws. His ball placement was really good on the touchdown to Jacobson and on the touchdown to Woods. More on Woods later. But I like what I saw from Sam. I'm nowhere near ready to put him as QB2 over somebody that was a Super Bowl MVP and somebody experienced, a guy that I know can run this offense the way it's supposed to be ran. If, Matt Ryan, Iron Man Matt Ryan ever goes down with an injury and has to miss a couple of games. But Sam Ellinger, hopefully he's a guy that we're able to get to the practice squad. He doesn't get plucked off by another team. And, he stays another year in this system and maybe develops into QB2 of the future. But that's the ceiling that I have on him personally.
Yeah, it was a welcome sight from everything I saw. The footwork seemed a lot better. Just his overall play seemed like everything was coming to him a lot quicker. Because, again, he played against the third string guys. There was the same guys that he was going against in last year's preseason game in 2 games because he started one of them. But things he was struggling with, ball placement, timing, his footwork was crazy. But in this game, you saw he was able to work the pocket, step up into the pocket. He looked like he had a little bit of command. It was a welcome sight. I certainly liked what I saw. I did not see that coming. And I'm with you guys right now. It was a good good game, solid game. This is what preseason is all about. You got to come in and make plays, especially if you're not really favored to make the roster at all. You got to make it hard and not make these decisions easy on these guys. You got to go, Marshawn Lynch, protect your chicken. All right. If he can do this for 2 more games, then there's a real discussion. I can tell you that. But other than that, again, Sam Ellinger, hats off to you, buddy. Let's see if we can do it in Detroit. The wide receiver room, a little bit of a mixed bag. All right, Big Daddy Michael Pittman, we know what he can do. Yeah. All right, but the other guys.
Did you just call Michael Pittman Big Daddy?
Big Daddy. He is a dad, and he is big. So, shout out to the Pittmans.
So it was comma. So it was big, comma, daddy. So it wasn't just Big Daddy.
Oh, no. I'm not trying to, get that way on the podcast live. Okay. I'm not trying to do all that. But anyways.
Is he your daddy? Whose daddy is he?
Oh, I'm just kidding. Okay. Yeah. I look ugly. I don't look, Michael Pittman is a California boy. He's handsome. He has good hair. So he's clearly not my dad. Okay. So I'm not even going to get into that. But again, the wide receiver room, he's talented in football. I'm not. Okay. That's why I'm on a podcast. But the wide receivers in general, did they disappoint a little bit? Rashaad, tell us.
As a whole, I wasn't really too upset at what happened out there. I know a lot of people are saying they struggled to see him get separation. There were plays, there were times where they didn't look as good as they should have. Michael Pittman, led all receivers for 30 yards. I believe he had 2 catches. One was kind of a downfield catch, and the other one was a little tunnel screen that they ran with him. He picked up about 15 yards. The rest of the guys just kind of looked like guys. They didn't do anything special. Alec Pierce had a couple of good releases. 2 of them that he caught. One of them on the first drive of the game was broken up by Khalil Elam. That's a first-round rookie out of Buffalo, expected to be a starter this year as their number 2 corner as Tre'Davious White's worked his way back. I think they had good moments, but overall, you see some of the complaints that people have been making over before training camp. Me and Destin never wavered off of this point, saying that they need to add somebody. They just don't have a guy that can consistently beat press coverage just over and over. A guy that's going to find soft spots and zones and ridiculously make teams pay for playing them press man and not keeping the safety over the top. Buffalo ran single high all game, pretty much kept a guy in the box, had one guy over the top. They just wasn't threatened, and it seemed like the Colts wasn't really in their game plan to make them play. They ran a couple of good mesh plays, that freed up some people. But Frank Reich is going to do a good job of scheming those guys up. That's why I don't worry too much about wide receiver production, because I know that Frank Reich can get in. He can scheme up a play for one of us, to get one of us wide open, or to get one of us a yak opportunity. So I'm not worried.
Danny Pinter wide open for a touchdown last year.
Great point. More on Pinter later. Great point. But yeah, man, I'm not too worried about these guys. I think Buffalo was a good test for them, the way they play defense. Shout out to them. They brought it, and they secondary is a good measuring stick. Although, we didn't see the studs that's in Buffalo secondary. The Tre'Davious Whites, the Micah Hyde, the Jordan Poyer. We didn't see none of those guys.
Yeah, the receiver room, I expected to see some growing pains. Rashaad kind of mentioned it. During the year, Reich is a very talented coach when it comes to just orchestrating ways to get guys open, whether it's little meshes, whether it's little rub routes, whether it's the illegal screen routes that don't get called in the NFL. The Colts will find ways to scheme guys open. So the big thing for me was just going back and watching the receivers a little bit on the all 22 and just kind of figuring out how they looked even when they didn't get targeted. I think Alec Pierce, his route running looked really well to me. I saw him be able to create separation at a pretty solid rate, even when he wasn't getting the ball much. You can tell he wasn't the first progression for Ryan on some of the, there was a red zone route you saw against press coverage, where when Pierce went for the cut, dusted the corner.
Toward the sideline?
Yes.
It was like an outbreaker? Yeah.
It was in the red zone going to, he was going towards the corner of the red zone. If the ball was thrown to him, he probably would have kept going that up way to the corner. and it was impressive. Now, the ball ends up going to Hines, who was on a linebacker, first read, easy, get that to him, obviously. But there were just multiple plays like that where Pierce's cuts look very crisp for a rookie. I think he's going to keep getting better. In the preseason, they're going to keep letting guys kind of show what they have there. And then when it came to Paris, I mean, I wanted to see him create his own separation, even if Reich's going to scheme him open during the regular season. And I didn't see it much in this first game, man.
Let me ask y'all a question real fast, not to interrupt you, but I just wanted to hit on that point because I haven't had a chance to watch the All-22 back yet. Was that a drop that Paris had on the sideline? Excuse me.
Did it
hit his hands?
One.
So I couldn't really see it.
I don't know if I'd say it hit his hands. It kind of hits him in the arm because he makes a diving attempt back to the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So I doubt it was credited as a drop because he makes a pretty crazy attempt to get back to it. I mean, it would have been a dummy completion if he found a way to get there.
Yeah, I remember the play you're talking about. I think I remember it was like a tough ball.
Yeah, I couldn't see it because the way the camera was, the sideline, the players were standing right there, so you couldn't
during live action. I didn't know if it was a catch, an interception, an incompletion.
Yeah, you couldn't see anything.
Buffalo started celebrating. I was like, "Oh crap! Did he throw an interception?"
Right, the way So that's why I was asking.
I mean, for me, Destin, to your point, and that was part of his draft profile. That's what we talked about when he was drafted. His footwork at the line of scrimmage was one of the best in the draft, even though he was drafted 54th overall. That was, we talked about it on the show. You talked about it numerous times. Rashaad talked about it numerous times. And I remember, the play that you're talking about, he just beat him. And to beat press coverage, that footwork is one of the best things you could possibly have. I'm not too worried about him. Again, for a route runner, I think he's pretty crisp. The one thing that I do, want to see him get a little bit better at is when, Rashaad, you mentioned it, that play against Kaiir Elam, one of my favorite corners in this past draft out of Florida. That press coverage, could it be, pass interference? Could it be, usually
hands to the face? It looked like a hands to the face too.
Yeah. When you get to the season, you can't rely on the refs to bail you out there. You just can't. He has to learn as a rookie to, what's the word I'm trying to look for? He has to use his body better when in those situations, especially if you're just running that slant route that he did. You got to get better a little bit at those routes because especially if it's in press, just how can you box him out? How can you catch it better? I want to see him do that. And it was good rookie on rookie action, man. That was great coverage by Elam and Pierce. I want to see a little bit more Paris. Again, didn't see too much. I didn't see too much separation. It wasn't a good day in terms, if I just had to say, like in terms of the starters, I wouldn't say it was a good day for Paris at all. But again, I mean, they weren't really doing anything scheme-wise. So we could probably keep it there. Again, the depth guys, Kiki Kuti, didn't really do much to separate themselves. Everybody behind
did get hurt.
And didn't get hurt. So that's the biggest win out of for everybody.
Well, no, I was saying Kiki got hurt. So to his defense, he wasn't able to put a full game together because of the groin.
Right. So we could table that discussion until we start hearing more from these joint practices and when they play Detroit this Saturday. But the tight end room now, I want to go a little bit player by player. We don't have to be too long, but again, I'm gonna start with Drew Ogletree because that seems like that was the bigger story coming out of Saturday and really so far thus far in training camp. Destin, let me give it to you here. Drew Ogletree, obviously he was the raw product, wasn't really expected to be tight end 4. Seems like he's tight end 3, tight end 2 at most times. Jelani Woods all the way down at tight end 4 rather. What was your take on Drew Ogletree on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Drew showed what he could do a little bit. The touchdown that got taken away, man, he was an angry runner out there. I think it was a touchdown to me. Yeah, it's Kyle Brandt on Good Morning Football does that angry running scepter or whatever. Drew was running mad during that touchdown run that ended up getting pulled back. But I think he's gonna be fun, man. I think he really showed out a little bit in his blocking ability on Saturday too. It's good to have that big body. It's good that you're gonna be able to work in the red zone. But if you're gonna get on the field consistently, that run blocking is gonna be a huge area where he can step into that role. And I think he showed that he can do that at a pretty consistent rate. I mean, I think for a day 3 pick, it's kind of hard to lock up a 53-man roster spot on August 16th when we're talking right now. But I think he's all but done it.
Yeah, I felt like even, before we came into this game, Drew Ogletree was pretty much a lock for this roster. I know me and you we knew how long they had been eyeing this guy and targeting Drew Ogletree. And he pretty much fit the bill. Everything they thought about him as a player, he's came in and he's delivered. A guy that's a little bit on the older side, much more mature, and you can see it. That's what I think separates him and Jelani Woods at this point is the maturity. Ogletree just seems like he's a lot more experienced. We know Jelani just made the switch to tight end a couple of years ago, so he's still figuring out some things. The little nuances of the position is the things I think that he has to develop later on, and you only get that by experience. But Ogletree, man, stud, big catch radius, a physical guy at the point of attack. Love the way he blocks. She's so soft hands. I think he had a drop in the game. But he's been the model of consistent. I can say, in my opinion, throughout camp and the first preseason game, he's been the most consistent tight end that we had. Mo haven't done much, and you don't need him to at this point. We know what Mo is. We know who he is. So I'm not expecting him to do anything. But I love Ogletree, man. I love his game, and I can't wait to talk about the next guy because the next guy is my guy, man. I like the next guy.
We know who he is and we know what he is. Destin, you want to kill him for that too?
Like
you came for me?
Hey, I didn't kill anybody.
Is that a diss saying we know who Mo is, right? I thought we all knew who
I think the difference though is
when I said it, I was told I'm not a believer.
Well, when me and Rashad say, we know what Mo Alley-Cox is, like we know he's like a solid contributor, like not going to be a flashy tight end one across the league, but he's a solid contributor. When you say you know what he is, you think he's trash and shouldn't be even on the starting rotation. That's
and not the best basketball player on the team.
Oh gosh, this man,
Mike's ridiculous.
On the team in football. Golly, okay. You would have me if he was in the NBA, but he's tight end one for the Colts now. Okay, so, but for me, Drew Ogletree, he looked better than I expected. Honestly, I haven't been out to practice like Destin and a lot of other people, so I haven't been able to watch him close. I haven't seen what he looks like, but he looked a lot better than I expected. He embraced contact as a blocker. He blocked a lot better than I thought he would. Blocked better than Granson, blocked better than Woods. And he just embraced it. His technique is already a little bit polished. I'm not going to lie. So that's always a good thing when you're a rookie like that. Ran a couple good routes, obviously. And like you said, Rashaad, had a drop. He knew contact was coming, didn't focus on the catch. He's got to give just being on the field, getting those reps is just going to help him get better and better. Moving on is Rashaad, Kylan Granson is the next guy. Rashaad, tell us what you thought about Kylan Granson, because obviously he's probably tight end too. He was a coach's draft pick. Frank Reich raved about him. So obviously this could be a big year for him. What did you think about him on Saturday?
The guy Frank Reich has been waiting on, man. He's been waiting on his arrival. They've been waiting on him to show up and deliver. He struggled in training camp a couple of practices, had some drop issues, but he's clearly the most explosive tight end that they have, man. And like I said, consistently, the way he wins is just different from anybody in the room. Nobody in that room can separate the way Kylan Granson can. His footwork is phenomenal. He makes some tough catches, and that's the tricky thing about it. He can make a tough catch, and then he can come back and have a mental lapse. The very next play, you just want to focus on him consistent, but the Colts have been making it a priority to get him the ball. Even at training camp practices, they even put him in the backfield, gave him a toss. I saw at one of the practices. It's even been a practice where they threw him 3 straight balls. Like he's a guy that Matt Ryan has consistently been trying to establish a rhythm and connection with, and I think that for this offense to go where it needs to go, for this offense to be a top 10 offense, he has to be one of the difference makers that this team has. We know about the struggles at wide receiver and the consistent play that we're not getting. So you have to look for other areas to kind of help you with that. You know, you want Nyheim Hines catching the ball, you need Kylan Granson catching the ball, Mo Alley Cox. Everybody kind of has to pitch in for this thing to work when you don't have just bona fide stars as weapons in the passing game. So I think Kylan Granson can be an integral piece this season, and he showed a little bit of that in this past preseason game.
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot this offseason. The thing that was always gonna separate Granson from the pack here in the tight end room was that he's just gonna have a very significantly different skill set than the rest of the guys. And the thing with Granson, and I don't think a lot of people ever thought about it, with Jack Doyle retiring, there were multiple key things Doyle did to this offense that you had to fill the voids. His blocking ability is going to have to get filled. I don't think Granson's going to fill that void. No. So I think when a lot of people were thinking about it, they're like, oh, one person needs to come in and fill Doyle's responsibilities. And I don't think that's going to be the approach the Colts take. I think they're going to let a lot of the blocking issues fall on a lot of these other bigger guys. But one of the big things that Doyle meant to this team was that third down catch, find the empty hole. Like, it wasn't a route given to Doyle. He was, hey, go find an opening, get open, and if we need to hit you, we hit you. And I think they've just used Granson a lot in that way in camp. You saw it a little bit in the game on Saturday. They're going to use him in the middle of the field, get him the ball, and let him move with it. He's going to have to make sure those drop issues fade to the past a little bit if he really wants to have that role that Doyle had. But I really think that's what they're setting him up for. When you watch him in camp, when you watch him on Saturday, like, that is one of the things they want Granson to be the guy to pick up.
Yeah, Granson looked a little bit more natural at the position to me, looked a little bit more polished as a route runner. So that's always good to see. Again, he's a little bit of a smaller tight end, so maybe he can move a lot better than these other guys can. Only thing that I really saw that was a problem, just a pre-snap false start, just clean that up, pay attention. That's really the only negative that I saw from Granson. Again, he is a little smaller. We've talked about what can he be as a blocker. He wasn't really blocking too much in this game. He was being used as that receiver. So the other guy that I thought, had an okay game. He was a rookie, right? Jelani Woods. But there's one thing that he did show on Saturday is why he should be featured in the red zone this season. Sam Ellinger just throws it up. Jelani Woods out jumps everybody for a touchdown. So that's all I wanted to see, really. Just lob it up, jump farther than anyone else on the field, and you got the touchdown. Destin, let me go with you here. For Jelani Woods, was there anything, you thought he could work on a little bit? Is there something that you thought he was ahead of?
Yeah, when it came to Jelani Woods, the things he was going to have to work on is he just has to find a way to look more comfortable out there, because that's just what his issue in training camp has been. He's just looked a little out of place. He's just not looked fully comfortable route running. He's not looked fully comfortable catching the ball yet. And I think on Saturday, he inched a little closer. And I even thought to myself on Saturday, man, this looks a lot different than how they're using him in camp and in practice. And then Zach Kiefer came out today after talking with tight end coach Clayton Adams, saying from Adams, what Jelani will be asked to do during the regular season is a lot different than what we're asking him to do during training camp, because we just want to see what he can do right now. So that's the thing that stood out to me on Saturday. I really think this guy's game is just meant for live action football. It's going to be meant for that red zone area. I think right now they're going to try to find out what other ways they can get him on the field day one. I think the depth chart looking like he's tight end 4 is going to scare some people because he was a 3rd round pick. I think they really like the kid. They like the guy. I think they see the skill set that he has. They're going to get him on the field. And I think we just have not seen at all the way he's going to get used yet, and that excites me about Saturday.
Who do you think will have a bigger role as a rookie in the Colts offense this season? Drew Ogletree or Jelani Woods? Make sure you comment down below and let us know your take and what you thought about Drew Ogletree and Jelani Woods. Next up, we're going to talk about the left tackle battle that's going on right now between Matt Pryor and the 3rd round rookie Bernhard Raimann. So we've always we've been going back and forth on the show. Saturday was finally something we could just finally say, okay, they're going against someone else. What can they do? So, Rashaad, let me start with you on this one. The left tackle battle, we saw Matt Pryor, I think it was for 3 series, Bernhard Raimann, I believe 5. So what did you think about each guy, and what were some of the mistakes you saw, some of the negatives, and some of the positives?
Oh, with Matt Pryor, I think he had a solid, not solid, but I don't think he played as bad as everybody's saying he played. I think he had a couple. I think he did have some bad reps though, and it just pretty much confirmed what I already thought my evaluation was of him already, and is that he's gonna struggle with speed rushes. Like it is no debate. I don't think it's anything he can do to change that between now and it's just who he is as a player. With his size, he can handle the bull rush, he can handle power. But guys that's just flying off, that's just pin their ears back and fly off the edge, he is going to struggle, man. He's going to have his moments where he looks like he's not ready for what's going on. That's pretty much of the same what I saw in the Buffalo game. As far as Ryman, I thought it was interesting that he played the rest of the game. Once he came in, he stayed in throughout with the 2s and 3s. He was just in for the rest of the game. I think it was good to get him those reps, especially since at training camp, he's not been getting reps with the 1s. You need to get him as many live bullets as possible. So I think that was important for him. I like that Frank's doing that. Of course, he had an easier job. He was going against a little bit less competition than Pryor, but Ryman showed me a lot, man. I thought he was a guy opposite of Pryor that was going to struggle with power and with guys that gives him a bull rush directly. But he handled it pretty well, man. He handled himself pretty well. It was definitely encouraging. And I know there's a lot of people that really want Ryman to win his job. I mean, even when you look from a team structural standpoint for financially, it'd just be beneficial to have a third rounder win the left tackle job and go on to be a left tackle of the future. You not have to worry about paying that guy for a few years down the line, especially when you commit so much money to your offensive line already. It's just a beneficial thing to have Ryman win. And I think the Colts are going to sometime soon is going to just see what you have to give him some snaps with the 1s and just see what he can do. I know it was Pryor's job. Like Ballard said, he'll get the first crack at it. And I think Ballard has been fair in upholding that. He's been given every opportunity to snatch this job, and he hasn't quite done it. So I think eventually you're going to move into that direction. Wouldn't be surprised if it's at a joint practice against the Lions, or if it's in the last preseason game, they just decide to let him start and just see what he can do, man, because until he's thrown in the fire, we'll never know.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Matt Pryor's game, I knew going in, he's a solid up and down blocker. When it comes to run blocking, not many guys are just going to go through him. And it's part of the reason I just wish there was a way to have him as that like rotational guard, rotational right tackle piece. Because the thing that's going to worries me on Saturday is he just has no answer to speed rushers. His get off the line is just very below average, is what I saw again on Saturday. And I guess that's just the area that I'm kind of worried about. I think the team is going to still be like, I think last year they were probably like 70-30 and then the occasional like 85-15 run to pass. This year they probably want to be more like 60-40 run pass. So there's still going to be a significant run balance there. So I don't think Pryor starting a few games here and there would be a big issue. The big one for me is you just can't have your blindside blocker being a liability in pass pro. And that's what I see Pryor at right now. If I can move him to guard, if I can move him to right tackle even, I would be way more comfortable with Matt Pryor being in my starting lineup. Just being in the left tackle, being in a 37-year-old, I wouldn't call Matt Ryan immobile, but not mobile at 37 years old. I do not want his blindside protector to be a liability in pass pro. We saw Eric Fisher show that a little bit last year, and I just do not want to see any situation where Matt Ryan's put into the turf at a unhealthy amount because of that. So that's my big takeaway there. And then Ryman, it's almost a flip, man, that's the crazy thing about this battle. I mean, Ryman, I think it's opposite. I think he has a very solid foundation in pass pro. His get off the line is pretty solid. I think his footwork are very mechanical almost, where they just boom bam, it happens every single time. And then in run protection, he just has He's struggling with leverage. He's really struggling with that center mass and being able to push back when a defender pushes him. So there's just different areas right now where I see both of them struggling, and we'll kind of see how it all plays out. I mean, I would love to see Ryman get some run with the ones here in the near future just to see if he looks like he fits. Because that's the other thing for me is that whenever I look at the starting five right now, I just don't think Matt Pryor fits in that left tackle spot.
So after Saturday, here's what I'm like, and I know the fans already know, like I'm with Pryor, you're with Ryman. But here after Saturday,
oh really? I didn't notice. I hadn't noticed.
Here's where I'm stuck. If Matt Pryor doesn't fit with the ones, how does Ryman fit with the ones? That's my question. This is where I'm stuck now, because talking about Matt Pryor real quick, we already knew he was a great run blocker. That's not surprising. He won every run block rep on Saturday. Not surprising. We know how good he is and how massive he is as a guard in that situation. So no surprise there. He lost 3 total pass block reps, in my opinion, and all were 2 were speed rush. The other one, dude just got moved out of the way. I think that was the sack. He just got moved out the way. I was very disappointed in that one. He looked a little bit unnatural to me playing the position. If I'm being objective, if I'm bringing objectivity to the conversation, he looked a little bit unnatural on Saturday. He did. He looked like, obviously, what we know, he hasn't played left tackle in the NFL. He's not used to that speed on that left end. He's usually going against tackles and everything. That was my thing with Pryor. I think another thing that I noticed was he was backing up and waiting too long for contact, waiting too long as a tackle. You can't just sit back and wait for the guy to come to you. No, you got to back up, brace for that, and you just got to grab the man. That's what you got to do. And he wasn't doing that enough for me to feel comfortable about him being left tackle week 1. It gave me a little bit of pause for concern. With Ryman, I reached out to you guys, not just Des. I reached out to you guys Saturday night, said I did not see whatever this next gen stat, Destin, you threw at me, 86.5% win rate. I thought I was tripping. I know I didn't smoke nowhere marijuana or anything. Did someone, poison my drink at all? I reached out to a few people. Man, am I tripping or what? Because I just didn't see 86% win rate. And they got back with me. They didn't agree either. It was, for me, my little bit 80, they just didn't see. High 69, low 70, that's what they saw. Because if we're going to sit here and say Matt Pryor was, struggling here, what about with what Bernhard Raimann was struggling? He was losing reps against threes. You can't sit there and tell me Bernhard Raimann needs to be out there against Micah Parsons, against Chandler Jones, against all these pass rushers that we're going to see. You just can't tell me that. If we're going to be objective all the way here.
But are you saying you would rather Matt Pryor block Micah Parsons than Bernhard Raimann?
I would.
In pass protection?
Strength-wise, I mean, really, that question is not a good question, Destin, because if either one of them, if either one of them are right there week 1, we're screwed. We're screwed either way.
I didn't say either one of them is taking Micah Parsons and shoving him into the turf or anything. I'm not saying either of them are winning the rep.
You're asking me,
I'm saying you threw.
At the end of the day, Micah Parsons might have 6 sacks alone when we play Dallas on Sunday night.
I'm just saying you threw Micah Parsons out.
Yes.
I'm just asking you, looking at what Micah Parsons does, would you rather have Matt Pryor or Bernhard Raimann in pass protection against that guy? Because objectively, I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't see a way you can say Matt Pryor in pass protection.
I don't see a way, even if it's up against Matt Pryor. Why are we making this like Bernhard Raimann is the best option when he's probably right now as a rookie? It's not his fault. He's got to get better at it. He's got to take time. And I'm not even trying to push him down at all. He's a rookie, dude. He started football late. He's not there yet.
Been a tackle for 3 years. I agree.
He's not there yet. So I feel better if he's on the bench or if something happens to Pryor or even if he wins the job day 1. I'm still nervous as hell right now, whether if it's Pryor, sorry, dude, if it's Pryor or Raimann. I'm nervous either way about that left tackle spot. And I know y'all are probably thinking, man, you can come out here and say Matt Pryor won. Matt Pryor did not, make me look good. I'll just say that.
I'm not really. It's not even an emphasis that I think Bernhard Raimann is the overall best player to put at left tackle at this moment in time. It's just, to me, with a 37-year-old quarterback and the running backs that we have right now, I would prioritize pass pro over run pro at the left tackle spot. And if you put both Raimann and Pryor in front of me, I believe full on, because of technique and actual and what their skill sets line up with, I believe Bernhard Raimann is the better pass protection tackle at this moment. We've not been able to see him with the ones. That is a true point. So I that's where I'm agreeing with Rashaad in the sense is I think we have to see him with the ones before we can get to that point. But skill set wise, Raimann has the better skill set to be a pass protection left tackle for the blind side. That's really where my opinion lies on it.
And you're correct there. I do think he has the better skill set wise, but that's in 2 years. I'm talking about right here, right now. You're not wrong when you talk about he long-term and objectively he's better. You're not wrong. But as of right now, I mean, against the speed, he struggled against speed guys, and they weren't even the starters on Saturday. He was struggling. The arm length is an issue, is what I saw. That's an issue. And it's going to be, if he struggled like this, and again, it was his first game. But if this continues, I can't sit up here and say, man, I'd rather Pryor or Raimann. I think I might start the trade for a left tackle train. Because objectively, I just can't say on Saturday either one made me feel good about the possibility of either one of them stepping out there week one. Both of them had okay days. I think Raimann had a little bit of a better, although he had more playing time than Pryor. But other than that, run blocking was not his strong suit. Pass blocking, it was just back and forth for me, really. Again, I mean, I would have to really sit down with you and tell you what I'm seeing. You tell me what you're seeing. I just didn't see this 86%. That was way too high from what I saw. Other than that, the other negative, I mean, he had a pass interference call, blocking way too far downfield. Just have better awareness. Other than that, third-round rookie, that's what you expect. Getting to the other offensive linemen here, or were we done with the left tackles?
Yeah, we're done.
All right, so with the offensive linemen coming back, obviously 2021 wasn't the strongest year of performance for these guys, mostly due to injury and unfortunate events. But Quinn Nelson, Ryan Kelly, and Braden Smith were back out there on the field. Quinn Nelson looked like he was bulldozing guys, man. He was out there. He was out there again. Braden Smith out there, Ryan Kelly. I want to ask you guys, Rashaad, let me start with you. Just these three guys alone, how did they look? Did they give you a little bit of, feel good about, okay, I feel like these guys will return to 2020 form?
Yeah, man. Quinn Nelson working his way back from an injury, insisted on playing playing Saturday. I'm sorry. He really wanted to play in that game. Looked pretty much like himself. Braden Smith played well. Just a solid, consummate professional that he's been. Ryan Kelly, sir, Ryan Kelly. Tim Settle. Tim Settle handed you your ass Saturday, man. He was applying pressure. He was pushing the pocket backwards. He looked like he was giving you all you can handle. It's the first game, and I know you're a Pro Bowl caliber player, one of the top 10 at your position. Hopefully it was just you knocking the rust off for the first time, engaging at full strength, against other competition other than your teammates, but hopefully you get that corrected, because you looked at rough Saturday, you looked at a little rough for me to be comfortable with. I was so busy thinking I had to worry about Matt Pryor and Danny Pinter. I found myself seeing you get pushed back more than any other starter. So that was concerning to me. It raised my eyebrows a little bit, but hopefully you get it together and you be much sharper when you play Detroit, when you scrimmage Detroit, I should say, later on today.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Kelly was one of the starters that you had to circle after the game where he just didn't look like himself. And the first preseason game does bring you that for guys at times. I mean, it's the first live full game action that any of these guys have seen in the entire offseason and since the Jacksonville game, really. I don't know if I'd say Saturday made me overall worried that Kelly's not going to be able to perform the entire year, but Saturday he lost reps. Saturday he looked bad. I'll say he responded well already again at camp today. There was a rep against him and DeForest Buckner, where would he have been flagged for maybe putting his hands a little high on Buck? Maybe. But man, he was pushing that man back, and Buck's a big dude. I'm just curious to see what Ryan Kelly looks like down the stretch. I'm not overall worried about it, but Saturday was a bad day for the guy.
Bad day, unfortunately, for Ryan Kelly. Quinn Nelson, everything I thought in general was a great day for him, other than getting destroyed on one rep. I kept seeing a 90-something. I couldn't make out the number of this player. I don't know if it was Daniel Joseph, Ed Oliver, but Quentin Nelson got thrown back, and it was just the one bad rep he had all day. He had a great day overall, so I'll forgive that as well. Braden Smith had a good day, but getting into these other guys, Destin, you talked to me, I believe it was Saturday night, and you told me who was the highest rated lineman Saturday. Who was that?
Yeah, I was speaking with a buddy who he does a little bit of his own math stats, and those stats aren't officially out yet, so I'm going to try to keep from giving those percents off and kind of ruining his buzz when he does put it out. But using the system that he grades on, Danny Pinter was the highest rated offensive lineman for the Colts on Saturday. And for me, even before knowing any of that information, I felt like the guys you were watching on the starting lineup going in was Pryor and Pinter. And you kind of mentioned it with Pryor a little bit. He just doesn't look naturally at left tackle. And the weird thing about Pinter, man, is Pinter was in college at Ball State, was a tight end who converted to tackle, guard, center, played a little bit of everything, got into the NFL, and the Colts were like, yeah, he's a little small to be a guard. He is a center. We were going to make him the backup center to Ryan Kelly. Barely got guard snaps, would come in and play here and there whenever he was needed. And then going into camp, it was like, well, there isn't another right guard option. So Pinter is going to have the first team reps to start it out. We just kind of threw him out there. And that's something you can put on Ballard and Co. is that there's multiple spots where that's where they kind of are doing right now, where they didn't put a fix there. So they're upgrading guys to spots. But Pinter has made him look smart in that area. He looks comfortable at guard. He looks natural. He did not make himself a problem, and he was just winning reps in both the pass pro, run pro, and on the interior, he was next to Ryan Kelly, who was losing snaps, and Pinter was right next to him winning. There's nothing really else to say. I felt like Pinter was one of the biggest winners from Saturday's game before I had any other stats to kind of back that information up. But I'm pumped to see Pinter the rest of preseason and training camp. We thought the right guard was going to be a battle spot, and so far it's just been all his snaps, and it doesn't look like he's turning around anytime soon.
I like Danny Pinter, man. I like Danny Pinter. He showed flashes last season. This season, I expect him to pick up right where he left off. I know we've seen him play on the second team, move over to center. There was a lot of second team guys that I was impressed with as well. I seen all the memes of the second team offensive lineman. The French.
Hey,
French
man,
fries.
Didn't we talk about that on the last show? Didn't we talk about that? We need the memes.
We need our credit for calling that. I didn't hear anybody mention that they was looking forward to French fries, and we did it on the show. But of course, we won't get credit because the whole world was talking about it. I saw it on mad national NFL pages. So it's over with now. We missed out on our opportunity.
The Blue Stable not getting credit. Crazy.
We can say we're a little salty. French fries, salty, whatever. So I liked what I saw.
The dad jokes returned.
I liked what I saw with Danny Pinter, man. He really surprised me as far as improving upon his strength. I thought that was going to be an issue for him coming out of college, and he's gotten a lot stronger being in his coach system for the past year, and I think he has the potential to solidify himself as the right guard of the future. The coach made a calculated move, moving on from Glowinski, who I hope he heals from his injury. He got hurt last preseason game with the Giants. I think it was a toe injury, but they couldn't afford to spend and pay Glowinski to come back, so they had to cut down somewhere. They trusted Danny Pinter to come in, and he's done a great job so far, man.
Yeah, Denny Pinter looked good, everybody. Will Fries even looked good himself. We're going to switch over to the defense right now. And talking about the defensive line, I'll tell you this. The defensive line just might be, I cannot believe I'm saying this after the last 4 years. But the defensive line, ladies and gentlemen, just might be our biggest strength on this team. I can't even believe I'm saying that. I didn't think I would say that today. But, man, I felt good about Yannick Ngakoue and DeForest Buckner. Yannick Ngakoue looked good on Saturday. He got very minimal run. I believe Buckner even got more reps than he did, but he won quite a few reps. He was quick off the ball. Grover Stewart, of course, just talking about the starters right now, he looked solid. He's going to be that nose tackle in the middle, immovable object, stop the run. That's going to be his job. Kwity Paye, what I wanted to see more, okay, but in the first preseason game, I want to hear how these joint practices go and then that dress rehearsal against Tampa Bay. But as for the starting unit, guys, what were y'all's initial takes on how Yannick Ngakoue looked?
Yeah, I wasn't surprised to see what Yannick's been doing. I mean, that's just what he's looked like the entire camp process. He's just a guy that looks like he's given 110% in camp and preseason when most guys out there are giving like 75% right now. And everybody else will get back to the 100. I just don't think Yannick knows how to turn that dial down. So he's just like that type, just that high motor type of guy. I'm pumped, man. We just haven't had a guy like this in a minute. I mean, we're done with the Al-Quadin Muhammad Edge 1 years, and it might sound rude to just harp on Al-Quadin Muhammad's time here, but I blame the staff more than anybody for him being the number one edge over him. But Yannick, man, he's gonna be fun. He's gonna be the best edge the Colts have seen in a while.
It's just so not to knock the last regime or the last group of guys that was here coaching. Great staff, top 10 defensive unit during their tenure here. But it just was so great to see that defensive line as a whole. The individual play was great, but just seeing multiple guys that can beat one-on-ones and get home, it's just what you like to see, man. And I saw consistent pressure. I know Gus Bradley doesn't blitz a lot. And when your guys are winning one-on-ones, when you're scheming up one-on-ones for your guys, and they're getting the job done because you have multiple guys on the defensive line that can beat one-on-one, then you don't have to blitz. The pressure's still going to be high. We knew the Raiders were one of the best teams in pressure rates, and they rarely blitz. So I just love to see that, being able to drop 7 guys off in the coverage and only send 4 and still get pressure and affect the quarterback. You just got to love it, man. And that's what I saw with the starting unit. And with the backup unit. I know you're going to get to that next, but I just loved seeing guys win, man. It felt like it's been so long since we saw edge guys. We were relying on Buckner as the only legit pass rush threat, and it just took a toll on him. As you can see throughout the season, some of his production goes down to it was multiple games, and we're saying, where's DeForest Buckner? He needs to be this. He needs to be that. Well, he's constantly getting double teamed. It's only on him. If he doesn't get production, then his team doesn't get any production. And so I think it's better now that he's in a much better situation. And we'll see the best version of DeForest Buckner, I think, that we saw since he's came here.
So better than the 66th best player in the NFL?
66, man. So disrespectful, man.
How the hell is he 66, man?
Hey, I don't blame them. Like Rashaad said, because of the lack of presence around him last year and the amount of offense attention he got, it was hard for him to have that same impact. I mean, so 66, I think it's just a number to remember this year when there's an edge presence of how good DeForest Buckner actually is.
Hey, man, when we talking about, Rashaad talking about winning, especially with the backup unit, first off, let's talk about Eric Johnson, Curtis Brooks, the 2 rookies. I thought they looked solid, that those 2 first steps off the line are crucial. And Curtis Brooks, he looked solid. Eric Johnson looked quick. I liked what I saw. But we about to talk about 2 gentlemen that won the day, that won that damn day. Cameron Klein had the best day for the defensive lineman. The guy was everywhere. He was everywhere. He was getting pressure from the outside. He was stopping the run. He was disruptive. that was a really good performance, man. I want to see if he can keep this thing up going because he's not a starter, so he'll play against Detroit, and we'll see how much run he gets in the rehearsal game. But I was really, really pleased to see this from Cameron Klein, a guy who's been with the team for a little bit. He made some moves on Saturday. He made some moves. He might be coming for Ofidio Dingbo's job right now. So that's all I got to say. And then Ben Banigou, ladies and gentlemen. Ben Banigou, the guy has come, and through the preseason so far, he just looked so natural out there. He looked like he was unleashing, definitely added some muscle to him this offseason. He was quick. He added a few moves. Ben, you think we didn't notice that? He added a few moves. It makes a difference when your development is focused on, it's prioritized, and it matters. It matters. Okay, I'm not gonna go on that usual rant as always, but I'm done with that, and now I'm focusing on what the future can look like with the starting unit and the backup unit. I thought it was a great day from the defensive line all around. Curtis Brooks, Eric Johnson, Cameron Klein, man, I didn't expect that. Ben Banigou, and obviously the starters looked good.
And the thing about Klein, that I mean, he came here as an interior guy. So he slimmed up a lot. Like, I don't know if you guys remember what he looked like as an undrafted free agent out of Syracuse coming in, and there was some hype around him a little bit because the kid has talent. But he was an interior guy who looked like an interior guy, if you know what I'm saying. And he looks like an entirely different person. Like, I didn't even know who it was at first when I saw the rep get one. And then I saw the number and I was like, holy crap, that's Cameron Klein. Like you said, he looked impressive. I would be interested to see if he could step into some second team reps, but I mean, him slimming down, and there's just a bunch of pop out this defensive line, man. The first unit, the second unit, Eric Johnson's first step as advertised, right, guys? Like I'm telling you, that is the thing you see in camp with him, where it's like, wow. And there were some guys talking about it a little bit because he did a bunch of those different showcases through the draft cycle as a smaller school guy. So he was kind of going to multiple different places to get some attention on his name a little bit. And I can only imagine what that first step was doing to some small town kids, man, some small school kids. I just would hate to have been the offensive coordinators trying to plan for those kind of things, man, playing him. I'm excited for him. I think Curtis Brooks has a role he can win here as well. And we can talk about Ben Banigou, a TCU guy me and Mike will agree upon here. I just think Ben looks like he belongs in a Leo spot, man. Like, I just think that spot is perfect for his skill set. And this is the year, man, for him. It's show out, or this is it for the Colts tenure with him. So I'm excited to see what Ben does, because I think he has that backup Leo spot in his grasp right now and a firm hold on that spot. So I really think that he's going to have the highest snap count in his career for sure.
So real quick before you go, Rashaad, not to get ahead of the topics here, but live from training camp today was Destin Adams. And I quote, a tweet that went out: Ben Banigou beats Best's rookie Ryman on multiple reps. Ben's get off is looking impressive so far in camp. So the hype around Ben Banigou is real, and I just wanted to keep it going, especially with Cameron Klein, man. That guy, keep that stuff up, man. Rashaad, what you got on this defensive line?
Man, it's been such a long time where you could call out multiple guys. You know, I alluded to it earlier when I was speaking about the starters, but the backup guys played better than starters, you know, playing against their peers, you know, other second and third string. A couple of guys popped. Eric Johnson, like he spoke about, that first step, man, is explosive. He is a freak, you know, as far as his athletic profile, still a bit raw. But once he puts it all together, this guy has high upside, man. And I think that's what the Colts see in him. Colts just would like to get their hands on him. He's like that ball of clay, you know, you want to mold. And I think they can turn him into something special potentially. Curtis Brooks is the polished guy. He looks like it out there. He looks like he's ahead of where any other rookie would be playing in their first game. He's beating guys. He can win from multiple spots. He can win inside. He can win outside. Banagoo, veteran here now, third year in the system. He fourth year in the system. Well, going into his fourth year in the system. Freakish athlete, like I always talk about coming out of college. And now the Leo position has really unlocked him. It's really allowing him to pin his ears back, not have to worry about any run responsibility initially. Just go get after the quarterback. Just go, Ben, because that's what you do best. That's what he does best. He's learning moves. He's getting better with his hands. I've watched him develop over the last couple of years. He's a guy that's ready, I think, to take a step. And we know Gus like to rotate a lot, man. So these guys are going to play a lot. It's not like these second string guys are guys that's just here for a breather to know. These guys are going to get rotated early and often because you like to keep a fresh pass rush. Gus Bradley prioritizes that. He don't want Yannick reaching a certain amount of snaps. You don't want DeForest Buckner going over a certain number. Doyle, we know is going. He had an explosive day, as we saw on the advanced metrics. It's a couple of guys, man, that have a real opportunity to make an impact. The other Dangbo, I don't want to forget about him as well. He played decent as well. There was a run play that he lost contain on earlier on the first series, but that was kind of like the defense just getting the jitters out early in the game. Once they settled down, they made a big stop in the red zone. That was surely good to see. The rest of these guys are really, really playing well and looked very productive out there Saturday against the Buffalo Bills, man.
Today's episode is sponsored by our friends at Manscaped, the leaders in below the waist grooming. It's back to school time, and we want to make sure you pack the essentials to have the best year yet. The Manscaped 4th Generation Performance Package is just that. Be ready for whatever is in your daily schedule this year. It's the perfect package for your package and includes the brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Join the 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com with the code BSTABLE20 for 20% off and free shipping. So now getting into the linebackers. The linebackers look pretty solid. Bobby Okereke, couple of notes on him. I mean, he looked a little bit better off, getting off those initial blocks when the lineman gets to the second level. Looked better at that. Zaire Franklin looked like he got a little bit better in zone coverage. The rookies, Weatherford had a hell of a day, 8 total tackles. Jojo Doman looked as advertised. He looked like he knew where he was going. He knew what his assignment was. EJ Speed looked a little bit good out there. There was one play where the running back went to the right. Kwity Paye, I believe, did a good job setting the edge on that one. He cut back inside. EJ Speed right there, just have a little bit more of your responsibility, discipline on that. Don't, he bailed on his assignment a little bit. He was the linebacker on that play, the strong side. He was supposed to stay there in case that were to happen. He was there for the tackle. Just be a little bit better right there. But overall, the linebacker room, I thought, had a good day. Rashad, what was your take on the linebacker room on Saturday?
The linebacker room played well overall. They played well out there in space. They matched up on a couple of guys in coverage. Sterling Weatherford, my guy. I'm a Sterling guy. Love him. Love his game. He made a big interception in late, I believe, in the third quarter. I think it was the 5th takeaway that the defense had overall. You just love to see it, man. Tips and overthrows. Those guys, they capitalized on all the opportunities to force turnovers. And I just think with Shaq Leonard being out, you need somebody to step up. Zaire Franklin is running with the first team in that kind of a middle linebacker spot while Bobby is sliding over to the wheel. And they look good together, man. They look good together. EJ Speed, he had a nice pass breakup, I believe, on a short pass that was dumped off that he hit the guy as soon as the ball arrived, then he coughed it up. There's a couple of guys, Jojo Doman. I've been kind of down on him, not because of the way he's playing. He's playing outstanding, but he's Sterling Weatherford's main competition. So I'm rooting against him because I want Sterling Weatherford to get the spot. But I can't deny how well the young man's playing, man. He's been playing phenomenal. Yeah, I know he has the responsibility of getting guys lined up and getting the plays into the guys as the second unit. He looked good. I'm excited to see what this linebacker unit can do, man. Ballard always hits with these linebackers, whether it's late in the draft, or as undrafted free agents, man. Ballard always finds a way with these guys.
Yeah, I mean, the linebacker group, I think, is just obvious that they're not going to be an issue going forward with it. And when it comes to the guys behind them, I mean, because Bobby, EJ, Zaire to me, I mean, I think they look like starting caliber linebackers. And I think Bobby looks like he could take that step into being in that extraordinary level, the potential he has. And I'm excited for him to be moving over into that will position because Gus likes to use that will spot. And Bobby's going to get to be active and be around the ball a little bit. I'm excited. I'm excited to see that for Bobby moving around. But the guys behind him is what I was really watching for on Saturday. Me and Rashaad have been a little on the opposite ends here. He's been a Sterling guy. I've been a JoJo guy. I don't see a reason they both can't be there. I mean, I think these backup linebackers, man, it's gonna be interesting because when Shaquille's back, obviously EJ Speed's gonna move into backup one of those areas. But to me, I feel like you can throw Weatherford and JoJo in multiple spots. You have EJ to be able to be probably the backup. If I was picking, he'd probably be the backup Will, looking at what they're going to be doing with it. So that's where I'd put Speed. And then I would put JoJo at the backup Mike. And then I think Sterling could go right into the backup Sam. I think they're all athletic enough, though, that you could mix and match and make sure just keep the best guys. Like, I don't care the positioning of it right now to me, because I think Forrest Ryan's another guy that's really looked well in camp. The linebacker room and the defensive line group, to me, are going to be the two rooms that they're going to struggle the hardest making cuts down to.
Speaking of mixing and matching, I feel like on Saturday, was it just me or were the Colts switching Zaire and Bobby between middle linebacker and will backer? Because I saw that a little bit. I feel like if something, especially right now, knocking on wood, if anything happens like to Leonard, they're preparing for it now. Bobby could slide over to that will spot. Zaire steps into that middle linebacker spot. So I'm actually interested. That was a little thing that I caught. Rewatching the film yesterday and today, obviously, I'm intrigued by that. But moving on to the corners, we're going to switch it up for this corner room, okay? Because I didn't really see anybody, separating themselves at all. I feel like we're a little bit in trouble behind that fourth corner spot by Isaiah Rodgers. But before we get to that, Rashaad, I do want to talk to you about Brandon Facyson. That dude is going to be an asset in the run game. He will get up there. I likes that in him. I saw that play. Ran to the left side. That dude got low and hammered that dude. I love it. I likes that in him.
That's one of the things that he excelled at, Mike. You're right. That's a good call by you.
Yeah. And hey, that's why Gus Bradley wanted him. That's why Chris Ballard agreed to bring him. Facyson knows what Bradley wants in his system by his corners. So if, Gilmore may not be that guy, I don't know. But Facyson, I was pleased at how willingly he is a tackler in the run game. Love it. But I want to switch this corner room up for you guys. And really, should the Colts think about bringing in a vet corner to bring in as corner 5 or potentially 6? I'm not even sure if they keep 6 at this point. But do you bring in a vet because Xavier Rhodes is still out there? Will he come in and be a number 1 or be a number 5? I have no idea. But you have other guys that are out there. Could you look into bringing one of them in? Rashaad, let me start with you on this one. Do you think it's best that the Colts explore a vet corner? I know we've talked about wide receiver, but vet corner, is this one where they should kind of get on the phones now?
Very interesting. Very interesting. Nobody has literally spoke about this. Destin made a suggestion a couple of days ago, and I'm gonna let him talk about that one. So none of these guys have really stood out. I thought Marvell Tell had the inside track, being with his experience in the system, but he just didn't look good Saturday, man. If we're being totally honest, none of these guys stood out. Dallas Flowers had a good rep on a 2-point conversion where he intercepted the ball. I like his potential. I think he probably a practice squad year away before you're actually putting him, on the roster to actually contribute. A guy, as far as a free agent that may have some interest, is Darqueze Dennard. He just got released recently. I believe it was yesterday. Might have was today. He just got released, but that was a guy that actually Indy bought in last year. Now it was a different regime, I know. So maybe Eberflus brings him over there to Chicago to get a good look at him. But I wouldn't be surprised. A guy that has the size to play in this system, I think can be a boundary guy if he was bought in, and just a veteran that somebody you can trust out there. Because after Isaiah Rodgers, I'm terrified of this group, man. Tony Brown, Anthony Chesley, Dallas Flowers, Marvell Tell. None of these guys are really popping off of the tape, and giving you any reason to say that this guy has to stick around. So maybe they find somebody that contributes on special teams and that allows them to keep an extra corner or so. But right now, how I'm looking at it, this team needs a CB5.
Yeah, so to me, the corner stuff's interesting. So if you went the veteran route, I wouldn't be anti-calling Xavier Rhodes' line if no one's talking to him. I mean, we talked about this. I was a big Rhodes. I don't even know if I'd say I was against Rhodes. I was just trying to prep people to understand that him replicating what he did was going to be nearly impossible. And not to toot my own horn, but it didn't happen. But
he got hurt, man. I fought with you about that. Oh yeah, he was injured.
He did get hurt, but I don't think it would have mattered if he was fully healthy. He was not replicating what he did the year before. He could have been better than he was. Don't get me wrong, but he was not replicating what he did. But to me, the biggest thing here, because I don't even care who the outside corner is between Faison and Rodgers. I trust both of them to rotate in and out. To me, I just want to have multiple guys that you can funnel in and out, keep guys fresh, and be able to just have a good rotation of guys. I think right now, if they kept who was on the roster, I do think they'd keep 6 for that reason. I think DBs are going to be a spot where they have made an emphasis that they want guys that can play both safety and corner. Almost every single person that's going to be on the depth piece of everything can play either or. So for me right now, I think the inside track for the 5 and 6 spot for corners, I think Dallas Flowers probably is at that 5 spot right now. He's looked good in camp, and looking at the snap wise in that first preseason game, like I think he has that inside track to 5. And I know the team still likes Marvell Tell. The thing that's going to be interesting for him, I get it, is that the defensive staff is not the one that was in his corner this last year, obviously. So this is a new staff. But Tell had some interesting things going on these past couple of years that's not in the public eye, obviously. They like the kid. I think they see that he has the talent to move it in the corner and the safety realm of things. It's just all about if they can go out and play special teams as well, in my opinion, too. There's just a lot of moving parts. But right now, I think they would keep 6 corners, and I think Flowers and Tell would be the 5 and 6. But I would not be opposed to calling Xavier Rhodes' line. Hit him up, see if he'd have any interest being a rotational guy. You're not going to be the 1, you're not going to be the 2, you're not going to be the 3, but we'll get you some snaps and we'll rotate guys in and out to keep guys fresh.
Yeah, I feel more comfortable going the vet route because, I mean, like we talked about, the corners that are behind Rodgers, they're not necessarily – separating themselves. No one's stepping up, and like some of them are okay tacklers, but none of them in coverage are saying like, okay, you know what, you can't beat me on this route, you can't beat me on the in breaking, the out breaking, or you can't. No one is separating themselves that way. I feel good if you can go get a vet. If you guys think the Colts should go get a vet right now, comment below who you guys think it is right now. I'm just going to throw some names out there. Trey Waynes, Joe Hayden, Chris Harris, Janoris Jenkins, Kevin King, Damon Arnett, Xavier Rhodes, Jimmy Smith, AJ Boye. So those are some of the guys that I will name off right there. Again, if y'all think they should go get one, comment down below who y'all think they should get. Getting into the safety room before we get into our other juicy stuff with the training camp and all this joint practices with the Lions. The safety room, Rodney McLeod looked solid. Julian Blackman looked healthy. I like to see him back on the field this early. It's still a miracle how this man is back on the field already, not practicing, playing football. So Nick Cross was almost as advertised, guys. He had as a safety, as a rookie, his angles are so good, especially in a live NFL game. They are good. I like that. It was definitely a welcome sight, obviously. The safety 4 spot, everybody knows that I'm a big Rodney Thomas guy. He didn't, weirdly, as he was listed on the safety depth chart, safety 4, Julian Blackmon's backup. I was shocked to see that he didn't enter the game till like 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. But again, it was a quiet day from him. He was the single high safety. That will be his job. He wasn't pressured at all. There was one time where he could have gotten over just a little bit more. It was a downfield throw, didn't get there. But other than that, really not much to go off of. Rashad, off the safety room, who do you think separated themselves and possibly maybe that safety 4 spot?
Safety 4? I didn't see much potential in safety 4 at the safety 4 spot. I know it. Amani Watts, was the guy that people was expecting to play that position. He has experience mostly as a special team, as a core special teams guy. That's something we needed to see because George Odom, who was former safety, used to get rotated and was an all-pro special teamer. So the Colts, they're known for bringing guys in that just specialize in a specific special team skill and won't even play a guy positionally. That's why I'm interested to see who Destin think he would give the edge to at safety 4. I want to see just how much he weighs special teams into his decision on whoever he selects at safety 4.
Yeah, to me, it just became clear that it's going to be Rodney Thomas because of what I said with the corners earlier. They want guys that can play both corner and safety in a pinch, be able to rotate guys through. So it makes it to where you almost are keeping just in general like 7-8 DBs instead of just saying safety. So we'll see how it all plays out. But I feel pretty confident that McLeod and Thomas are going to be your backup safeties.
All right, guys, those were our performances, or not our performances, but those were our takeaways on the Blue Stable of this preseason game. Again, the Colts did take the L, like it matters, but just for technical reasons, they took the L 24-27, yada, yada, yada. We still whooped their ass last year. We're going to do it again this year. So, Rashaad, what's up, man?
Oh, and for the people that wanted to know about the kicker battle, Jake Verdi, you out of here. Rodrigo, Hot Rod, it's your job to lose. Just please. I heard you had a great day today, but I'm not going to get ahead. I'm going to let Destin speak about his takeaways from the day, but I'm pretty sure Hot Rod's not one of them on his hot list of takeaways.
Hot Rod is stepping up, man. He said, fuck them Legos. Let's go to the weight room. That's what he said this offseason. But speaking of the takeaways, real quick, guys, the Colts did cut down their roster. Today was one of the deadlines to get to 85, technically 86. They have a roster exemption for Marcel Dabo because of the overseas thing. And the players that they did end up cutting, unfortunately, was offensive tackle Jason Spriggs. That was a few days ago. Today, wide receivers Isaiah Ford, Michael Young, offensive lineman Brandon Kemp, cornerback Alexander Myers. So the Colts are officially down to 86 players on their roster. They will obviously, it's going to keep going down more and more. I believe the next deadline is the 23rd, I believe, to get down to 80. So other than that, Destin Adams, you was at training camp again today. We understand you have some takeaways, obviously. Again, this is practice following the preseason game, leading up to what should be some good joint practices. Take us what you saw.
Yeah, I try to leave every practice that I'm at live with some takeaways just to be able to move forward a little bit. And today I had 3 of them that I wanted to share. One, Michael Strong, who just got activated off the inactive pup list, was out there at practice. And you've seen it reported multiple times today already, but he really didn't look like he had any limitations. I mean, his knee looked good. He was moving well. They were finding ways to sprinkle him in. He was in a lot of second team units, sprinkled in the third team as well. He just looked like a guy that was going to be ready to practice this end stretch of the training camp. And in a spot where really no receiver on the end has came and taken these spots, I think he still has a chance. And a lot of us were really worried if he would have that. My second one that I'm going to say is a takeaway was that Kylan Granson is, if you're listening, you're a fantasy football person, this is important. If you are going to own a tight end in fantasy this year for the Colts, it's Kylan Granson, not Mo Alley Cox. The reason that I'm saying this is because Kylan Granson has been the most targeted tight end in this room to me. And I talked a little bit about it earlier. The reason being they really are focusing in on him on those middle of the field, find your own spot and get him the ball. And Matt Ryan's accurate. Matt Ryan's going to look for that. And I think Granson, if he can get those drops down, he's going to be heavily utilized this year to where it'll look like he's putting up tight end one numbers for this room over Mo Alley-Cox, whereas I think Mo Alley-Cox is still going to outsnap him. The roles are just going to be very different. So if you're going to own a tight end in fantasy for the Colts, I think it's Kylan Granson, not Mo Alley-Cox.
Not to interrupt your last point. I took one of the easiest bets in probably Colts history. One of our former writers, Mason, he bet me that Kylan Granson would have the least amount of receptions in the tight end room this season. Easiest bet I've ever took him. I jumped at the chance to take that bet.
Mason, if you're listening, I'm sorry, buddy. Just go ahead and write the check. Just go ahead and write the check. Have it out of your bank account so you're budgeting it right. Just have it on your nightstand, ready to hand to Rashaad when the time comes.
He's gonna pay for one of my new suits. Go ahead.
Rashaad, are you taking it in payments or are you just taking it in full?
I might let him do installments, man. I might do installments. I might buy my tie first, and then I might buy the jacket, get the pants. I might buy my suit in sections.
God damn! How much did y'all bet on this?
Oh man, it's just a modest.
If we're talking about where you shop, I feel sorry for that.
But go ahead, Destin. What's your third takeaway?
And my third takeaway is I think Nick Cross has won the starting safety spot opposite of Blackman. I think it was a battle early on. You saw Roddy McLeod having days where he'd get the first team snaps and you would see it sprinkled in. But the Cross Blackman duo in camp is just dynamic. You just see him moving around. You see how Cross sees the ball. I think Cross is going to have a lot of high upside. But I think through his career, but I think day one, this guy's going to come in. I think they believe he's the starting guy there. I think he's the starting strong safety. I think Roddy McLeod will still get sprinkled in. And we talked about this, that Bradley likes to use 3 safety sets. There'll be some single high safety sets as well this year, but I think Nick Cross has won the strong safety job. That was my third takeaway.
Hey, Nick Cross the third, not the second?
Nick Cross the starter.
Yeah, Nick Cross, the starting strong safety.
The starting,
I like
okay.
it.
All right.
I like it.
From what I saw on Saturday, I am okay with that. All right. So, guys, Colts have cut down to 86. Megatron has come back, obviously. So now, hopefully, we'll see how he can perform. I wonder if he'll play this weekend in Detroit. But speaking of Detroit, the Detroit Lions, the kneecap biting Lions, are coming to Indy for joint practice. So, guys, this is going to be what, Frank Reich has mentioned. This is going to be where they really amp it up. This is going to be their preseason game these 2 days. So, whether I'm not entirely sure how Frank Reich and Dan Campbell are going to come together and talk about, what do you want to work on? How can we help? What do you want to work on? How can I help? I'm not entirely sure what their approach is going to be, but it's going to get physical out there. I hope some fights break out because, again, this is football. There's pride in this thing, and I want the Colts to be pissed off. Rashaad, when it comes to these joint practices, what's one thing you're looking and hoping to hear coming out of these joint practices?
I just want to hear that the Colts were able to move the ball. I'm not really worried about how they do it per se. I know this defense. I pretty much know what this defense is going to be. Somewhere I think in the 10-5 range. On the high side, it can be in the 5-1 range. On the low side, I think at the lowest, this defense would be in the 13-10 range. So I'm not really worried about it. The offense has a wide variety of outcomes. So I'm more concerned with that side of the ball. I want to see guys winning individual reps, wide receivers and tight ends especially, and I want to see if the Colts are going to open it up a little bit, give Matt Ryan a little bit longer leash, let him do what he want to do. Frank Reich going to go a little bit deeper into the play calling bag, or is it still going to be as vanilla as it has been? So that's just a couple of the things that I'm looking for as far as joint practices tomorrow. Well, today and tomorrow.
Destin, what's on your mind about joint practices?
Man, the Colts are back on Hard Knocks. What are we talking about here? I ran into a couple of the Hard Knocks camera crews even today, leaving training camp, and had to joke with them that, man, you guys just can't get enough of us. You're right. You're right. You're right back. But they want to hear Jim Irsay sing "We Will Rock You" again. Hey, I bet the Hard Knocks crew is always down for Jim Irsay just to have a mic in his hand. Does it terrify me? Maybe, but they're always down. But my real takeaway is I just want to get out of here injury free. I think there's ways you can open up the playbook a little bit in camp that you won't want to do in preseason action. So Rashaad's right there. You want to see what they do there, but the biggest thing is, to me, I want to come out of this healthy. We got out of the first preseason game pretty well. Kiki with the groin, Isaiah Rodgers with the possible concussion who didn't practice today. Get out of here as injury-free as possible, and hopefully they're not eating any kneecaps.
There's a couple of things that if you are going to these joint practices, if you're going to be, watching in the stands, guys, not you, but the fans that are watching this segment, that Colts defense versus Lions offense, those 11-on-11s is going to be crazy, because let me just give you a rundown real quick, just at a few spots. Their first-round rookie, Jameson Williams, is still recovering from a knee injury. He won't be out there, but DJ Chark, TJ Hawkinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, hey, fight on, Rashaad. He's got some talent on him. And then you got their tackles, Taylor Decker and Penei Sewell, taking on Yannick Ngakoue, Kwity Paye. That is what I want to hear about. I wish I could see it in person. And obviously the big one is going to be how does Matt Pryor, Bernard Ryman, and also Braden Smith, obviously coming into this 2022, how are these tackles going to look against these solid pass rushers that the Lions have? They got Romeo Okwara will be out, but they did just draft Aiden Hutchinson. They got a few more. I know they got the other Okwara brother, I think, and Charles Harris, obviously, who they signed. It's going to be real interesting, guys. Again, like Destin said, I hope we get out of here healthy. Y'all guys are just going to have to hear about it. I hope we see a lot of it on Twitter, videos, reps, the whole 9 yards. And then obviously this Saturday, the preseason game against the Detroit Lions. So, hey, there's a lot of things that we could talk about, but we'll save that for next week. I think this show has run its course long enough, guys. So any other closing remarks before we get out of here, guys?
Yeah, man, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube, man. We're giving a jersey away of choice. You get to choose, man. Like we not having a jersey that we just had lying around somewhere. You get.
So could I get McGinnis on the back of mine if I win?
You know what? Somebody should get McGinnis. A King of Coats. Get King of Coats on the back of there.
If they get McGinnis, do you have to pick the number though?
They get McGinnis. It may come with I won't say that. I'll save that for after the show. but I get to pick the number. Let me see what number. Number 24. We're gonna go with 24. Get 24. McGinnis on the back, and I have a special. You'll get double gifts because I have something special for you as well.
24 because Rashaad McGinnis works 24 hours a day. Everybody.
Hey, that's why Destin is my co-host. That's why. That's why we're in sync. And Jamal Williams, I'm watching you at Hard Knocks. You've been a star so far. I got my eyes on you. Don't try anything fishy tomorrow.
All right, guys. Well, if you haven't gotten enough of us already, if you're already going to watch these other segments on YouTube, again, enjoy the videos. Let us know what you think. If you have any comments, concerns, or touch on stuff, talk to us about something we didn't cover. Make sure you get it down in the comment section below. Again, he is Destin Adams. He is Rashaad McGinnis. I am Michael Pevia. As always, guys, make sure you're subscribing, sharing all of our content. We appreciate all the support that you guys bring. And let's go feast on some Lions because this is our jungle. All right. We will see y'all next week.